See, today, I was sharing with the church earlier how people can so easily not conform to this eating and live the Bible way because of all the things you have to deal with in the world today. How people adapt to their environment, to the influence that's in their life, and how it costs so much to be different. This is the most fulfilling, lonely life a person can live. The joy is unspeakable when you finally come to that place where your flesh is not dominant in your life. When you can open up your mouth one day and say, it hurts so good. Yes, it still hurt, but I know it's for my good. So it's different. It's different. It's something God invested into humanity. He sacrificed himself for man to have a chance to live with him forever. And some people walk with him because he's just blessing them and blessing them and blessing them. And then the deeper he got into truth, that's when they start leaving him. He had thousands, and they came down to 11. Thousands of members. And when he kept preaching truth and kept preaching truth, people just drift away. Tonight we're going to talk about the energy drink, God's energy drink, God's tea, and it's in the Bible. God had a process, and it's so important right now because irregardless, see, the date going to be up on when I did this teaching because this pestilence that's in the air, they call a pandemic, that's just one. There's many others out there now created from this. And the reality of it is because the Christian world don't want to admit it because everybody jumped on the same Fosse wagon. They jumped on Bishop Fosse wagon. And he told them what the church what to do, and they did it. So therefore, all of them came together instead of looking to God, listening to the voice of a true man of God. They could prophesy about all this other stuff, but they didn't know nothing about Corona before Corona. Why? Because God take the ignorant and the unlearned that been with him. I just want to tell him thank you. I'm not popular, but I've been with Jesus. Y'all love the Lord. I couldn't complain about the route, and I had to start early. So in this process, remember, man was made from dirt, from the ground. So God intended for man to put product that come from the ground back into his body. It had to come from the ground. Okay, even when you say meat, now that's why I'm not saying that I'm alkaline or anything of that nature, because I describe it as eat to live the Bible way, because as long as the animal ate from the ground and didn't get no drugs in it, then you still eat from the ground. You can't hardly find no animal today that either not eating hay is dead grass. It's supposed to be walking and eating living herbs, grass. And then it's shot with a drug that'll just fatten them up. So here you are, God people here in Exodus 15, God people in Exodus 15, they going through the wilderness and they're tired and they're thirsty and they needed something. They needed something because diseases was around them, just like the diseases today all around us. Diseases was around them, and then God gave them a formula. He gave them a formula, and when he gave them that formula, he said, none of these diseases that the rest of them getting going to come to you all if you just follow my instruction. Exodus 15 and 23 through 27 read.
And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them, and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters.
Now, here you are, God making the first energy drink and the first tea. And he said, now, I want you to understand something. These diseases I have brought upon the Egyptians. God said, I have brought upon the Egyptians. He said, none of them will come on you. And what he gave them? Some tea, some leaves, and bitter water. He said, now once he put them leaves, once he put that tea in that bitter water, he said, now, if you drink this, none of these diseases, they ain't gonna get you like that. So it wasn't like they were living in a time where nobody was getting sick. And so he let them know that there are people out there getting diseases, getting all kind of sickness, and all kind of people dying, and all kind of things around them. He said, and then when you look at the 27th verse, so he led them to 12 wells and 10 palm trees, so they can have the energy drink, they can have their medicine. He said that healeth them. So this process of looking to God during a disease time, a pandemic time, was nothing new. But I can understand how people ain't listening to this. They gonna listen to posse. Why? Because they just doing what everybody else doing. The majority doing it this way, and then you will be persecuted, you'll be cast down, you'll be talked about if you really follow it. Now, this is not a doctrine, so you can't use this as a doctrine. I understand why he wouldn't use this as a doctrine, because it'll be almost like the Pharisees and the scribes. Now they're applying so much, making it hard to be saved. So God wouldn't include this as part of salvation. Tell somebody this is a decision on the lifestyle you live, the quality of life you live. This is not a heaven and a hell issue. It's a decision. It's a decision. And the process of it. Why? Because the people are supposed to be able to come to church and get healed. And the messenger, just like the word of God, the messenger, all of this stuff I'm giving you right now coming from the word of God. Not only did he talk spiritual, but he talked natural too. And I come to tell you, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. God gave these instructions. Let's notice here Exodus 17 in your Bible. And let's start at the first verse through the 6th verse. Read.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me?
They're sitting here getting an attitude with the man of God. The man of God sitting there, well, I know you're thirsty, but what you sitting there getting mad with me for? And he said, don't you know you tempting God? You sitting here getting an attitude with me? Read.
Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? And the people thirst there for water. And the people murmured against Moses, and said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us, and our children, and our cattle with thirst?
Now remember, the Egyptians back there full of disease. The Egyptians back there, and they sick. But the only thing they thinking about, well, everybody else doing this now. This is what everybody else doing. So why you ain't let us go back there where they sick at? Read.
And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me.
He said, they're about ready to kill me. Read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel, and thy rod wherewith thou smotest the river. Take in thy hand and go.
He said, now go and smoke that river with your rod. Take with your hand and go. Then what you do? Read.
Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock of Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel.
So that's why we ain't drinking this alkaline water. You got to have some spring water. We drinking alkaline water, which is natural spring water. We're not drinking what they call it, purified water. The water that come out the rock, the water that run down. When we go to the mountains up there, they have the waterfall, and then you can see how the rocks just clear the water up. How the water just run down the rocks, and because it's hitting on the rocks and taking all the impurities out of the rocks. We went down there and clipping them, walked down there to the waterfall, and we just got something to drink right from the waterfall. You can see the purity of it. So the Lord had them to drink the water right outside of the rock. Why? Because it was good alkaline water. We do drink alkaline water, but it's spring water. We don't drink the chemically modified, purified water for life. You drink that to quench your thirst. But when you're eating to live the Bible way, you find out the process that God wanted. Now, he told them this was the covenant that he'd keep them from all of those diseases after they started drinking the way that he told them to drink. Now, you know, I don't think you have it in your lesson, but in Deuteronomy 32 and 1 and 2, it say, Give ear, O ye heaven, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as the dew, and the small rain upon the tender herb, and the showers upon the grass. That's Deuteronomy 32, 1 and 2. And what he's saying, he said, now I give dew from heaven. That's the energy drink. He said, I send you some dew from heaven. I got in my backyard, it's called Leaf of Life. We got a leaf of life growing. And sometimes me and my wife just go out there, we just pick the leaves and we just eat them. We just eat them. But it's something, if you can catch it at that time when that dew on it. You catch it, and that's that tea. Because the trees, the plants live that way. So now, since we made from dirt, then we putting the same thing. So what happened? The leaves fall off the tree. And the tree sit underneath the dead leaves sit up under the tree, and then God send the rain, and now that tree is drinking his own tea, and now it's ready to reproduce the fruit for the next season. And so God intended for us to eat from the ground, to drink from the ground, not from a manufactured company, not from a morgue called a freezer and a refrigerator. Do y'all love the Lord? Let's notice in Genesis 27 and 28. Read.
Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine.
So he let man know, I got an energy drink for you. You don't mind going out there in the morning sometime? If you had something out there that you growing and you could just eat from it, I got that leaf of life. Just pull one off of that and then just eat it. He said, I got dew from heaven. And it's for the fatness of the earth. So he's saying now the trees live off it. You see that dew gonna fatten the earth. He's gonna give strength to the earth. Now look, this Judges 6:38. What does it say?
And it was so. For he rose up early on the morrow, and thirst the fleece together, and wring the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water.
So now he's taking the dew and wringing and bringing his water out to drink from the dew. Tell somebody you need the real energy drink. That's the drink early in the morning. Give you your boost. What? Now, a lot of countries, America is not popular for it. America is popular for coffee, is that drink in the morning. But a lot of countries, it's tea. And in a lot of them countries, you don't see the obesity. You don't see a lot of the obesity that you see in America because caffeine got them. That's the dope. That coffee. So what is God? Why did God tell Israel that? Why did he tell them, okay, now if you drink this tree leaves and bitter water, none of these diseases will come on you, because he knew the medicine was in the leaf. That's why, remember, it was bitter water. And God commanded the people to eat bitter herbs. So the water was bitter. And he let a tree fell in it. And it made it sweet water. And that's what they live off. They ain't got no medicine. They ain't got none of this stuff out of here. Let's look at here, Ezekiel 47 in your Bibles. And the 12th verse. Read.
And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade.
Grow all trees for meat. So when we hear that word meat, you know, get Church's Chicken out your mind and Popeyes, you know, and a steak, and to churn some chicken nuggets and hamburger. He said the trees, all trees for meat. Read.
Whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine.
He said, now that's how they're gonna be healed. He said they're gonna eat that fruit, and that's gonna be their meat, and them leaves gonna be that medicine. Somebody look at somebody and say, you better take your medicine. I don't care nothing about, you know, what they say. When I went to the doctor, he sent me to the cancer doctor. When I went to the doctor, I didn't follow none of his instructions. This was before COVID. I went in prayer and God told me what to do. I started doing this stuff. I started drinking the tea. I started eating the alkaline way. I started monitoring, and I can feel all the acid going on. And when I went back to the doctor and took a blood test, he said, what did you do? He looked at me like he was baffled. And I knew then, he know I ain't did what he told me to do. Your blood work ain't never looked like this before. What did you do? Did I tell him I didn't eat meat? I just told him, I said, I just don't eat meat. I wouldn't tell him nothing. I wouldn't mention Dr. Fawcett or nothing because they didn't want to hear that. Because he'll run them out of business. Dr. Sebi method was right, if a person followed his method, it's just that he didn't connect everything to God. And then when I started reading this Bible, he made me look into this portion of it. Because his method is right. His method, no diseases will really penetrate a person. None. But I just looked at all that smoking weed and all that stuff. I ain't with all that. I ain't with all that. Y'all love the Lord. But his eating method was right. It was right. It works for real. Look at this Revelation 22:2. What did it say?
In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yield her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
And when you see, now, why did he do this? Because he knew that we were going to have digestive problems. Those people was going to have digestive problems. So what he did, a lot of people today, they don't want to talk about it, but they constipated. And they got digestive problems. You go to the bathroom and you're struggling and you're straining. And then God said, now if you eat from the ground, see, now he told them, he said, now if you drink of this tree and this bitter water, he said, none of these diseases, what are you going to do? What it do? Clear their digestive system. Have it where they won't have them stomach problems, the digestive problems. It'll heal them. So what's the source of that? Is to make sure, just in case something do come in you, it pass right through you. So what's happened? So these noise and pestilence come, and because you have a gut issue and so forth, so it's sitting in you because you got the food sitting in you. So then now this noise and pestilence can get stronger and go attacking your immune system. So God had them the drink of the bitter water and of the tree, and then it cleared their digestive system. Well, whatever come in them, they're drinking all that water. They were drinking more than a gallon of water a day. They're drinking all that water. So if anything did come in, it come right back out. Always running to the bathroom. So how did this stuff stay? It started in the gut. Because God designed it, we have a bowel movement. So if anything, that's why when you see a baby, the baby is still messing, and you still have to change that diaper. You know, the baby, you ever been changing that diaper and the baby went to peeing and boo-booing right there while you changing? Okay, because their system is designed, when it's time to go, it's go. Little being gonna be doo-dooing all over the place. I hope you have the hearing thing like a daddy be screaming up something so a daddy can hear it. 3 o'clock in the morning. I could hear. You know. Why? Because that baby's system is designed. This food is only allowed to sit in them so long, and then the body push it back out. It'll push it right out. And the older we get, and we start living off our taste buds, and so the taste buds got us hitting that food. What y'all got a taste for? Somebody tell the truth. Chunky cheese. Ice cream. What you got a taste for? Not me, but you. What? Amy, what you got a taste for? She telling the truth. Amy growing too. No. It don't look like she even trying. I'm doing all this teaching. I ain't there yet. All she do is confess. I ain't there yet. Scylla, you still hanging in there? You ain't eating no meat? Oh, all right. Missy, why you looking at me like that? You eat what you want to eat. Yeah, she telling the truth. Yeah. Y'all love the Lord? Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't. It take discipline, because this was not nothing easy to do. But I'm gonna tell you what motivated me: the fact that I was sick. So I can understand a person not being sick and healthy, and then you talking about not eating no burger, around here eating some bitter herbs. Any of y'all had some raw sea moss? Raw sea moss ain't nothing tasting good. It tastes like a rotten aquarium, straight from the ocean. But sea moss is good for your body. Oh my goodness. See, they putting all the fruit and all that stuff. That spoils the sea moss after a certain amount of days. But raw sea moss can sit up a while. But when you put that fruit in there, they don't understand that fruit gonna spoil. And then that gonna deteriorate the value of the sea moss. That's why people go into all this the sweetie, fruity sea moss. Because that raw sea moss, boy, ain't nothing to play with, but you can feel it. One, if you eat it for breakfast, it gonna fill your belly. It just ain't gonna satisfy none of your taste buds. And then eventually you start feeling it. You'll start feeling it. You'll start feeling it. I laid off it a little while. I done started back hitting it, and so forth. And then what the process of it is that sea moss, your body can't consume enough. It'll let you put as much sea moss in you, I'm talking about raw sea moss, as you can get. And it'll make you feel better. Sea moss is lining up for tomorrow. So I'm loading up for tomorrow. Give me a boost for tomorrow. So that's sea moss. I eat it this morning. It helping me through the day, but it got me something for tomorrow. So I'm hitting it the next morning. And then the more you do it, the more you feel it. You can feel it working. I'm talking about raw sea moss because I don't even want to play with the fruity stuff because that's playing to me. Because the Lord talk about bitter. He talking about something that your taste buds do not agree with. That's what we put in our body. Y'all love the Lord? Tell the Lord thank you. Look at Psalms 104 and 14.
He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth.
So now he giving us his process. He said, now, I'm not so much, God wasn't against eating meat. He said, now, I got the grass to grow for the cattle. I got living grass growing for them to eat, not dead hay. I got living grass and the herbs for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the ground. Man, food out of the ground. So what? So what is he saying? He said, now if that cow eating the grass, which from the ground, so that the cows eat from the grass that come from the ground, and then if you eat the cow, then you still eat from the ground. So what you got today, you got a cow that's just out there in the cow pasture. He nibbling, but he waiting on that man to come feed him. In the wintertime, they give him hay, and then Deacon Brown used to feed the cows. Just recently, he stopped, and they got some cow food that they walk over the grass. They got all the chemicals to help them not to be wormy, not to have diseases, and then they walk over the grass and go and eat the food that's been bought for them to eat. So all you doing is just seeing a place where they live at out there in the cow pasture. And they walking down, they nibbling. They nibbling. Because they're really waiting on the real food that the man bring to them from the manufacturer. So they're living off of something that came out of a factory, not out the ground. Let's go to Genesis 2, 9 and 10. What does it say?
And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads.
Now, in this process, we're going to notice here how biblically people would bring, it was a greeting to bring something from the ground healthy. It's almost like coming and greeting somebody with some medicine. Why? Because different environments grew different herbs and spices. So people would come. I'm bringing this from where I live at. Then another person bringing this in. Let's go to St. John 19:39. Read.
And there came also.
Remember, Nicodemus is the one that came and snuck and met Jesus at night. Go to 19:39. What did it say?
And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100-pound weight.
So now here it is. This was a greeting. Why? Because they looked at it. Guess what I got for you? Now remember, they eat this and drinking this, and so he bringing what they done grow. It was a form of fellowship. Oh man, you got some good myrrh and aloes. You got now. That's another thing. CB eliminated a lot of these things that's in the Bible and call them hybrids and so forth. But when I find it in the Bible, you ain't finna call it no hybrid. That's the process of it. Now notice him, the fellowship, Matthew 23:23. Read.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
So now remember, they didn't necessarily have cash money to bring and pay their tithes. They paid what they had. So the Pharisees was paying tithes with their mint, the anise, and the cumin. Now don't think we done had the cumin? What's that stuff at that restaurant with that had that green looking, mashy looking stuff? What is it? Hummus. Now, here it is, they tithe with what's healthy because this is what they got. And what he was saying was, y'all paying your tithes properly, but you ain't living nothing. That's what he's saying. Notice here in Genesis 37:25. Now all of this stuff come from the ground. Read.
And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
So all of this stuff is from the ground, and they knew that, okay, I'm going to a strange land. Let me make sure I have something to greet them with that they may not have where they living at. Say, oh man, you got some good balm and myrrh and spices? We ain't got that over here. Because it was for their health. It was for them to live. Exodus 12:8.
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
So now, all of this stuff that we're talking about is not a taste bud thing. It's not for your taste buds. You'll be amazed at how many people live off of their taste buds. Their taste buds control what they put in their mouth. I got a taste for, and then that's what you eat. Your taste bud. It don't matter how your body telling you, no. Getting fat. And it said, no. Constipated. It's saying, no. Eating and getting sleepy. No. You know, passing gas. You can't stand yourself. No. You know, because God will get it out you. You better not hold it in. You have chest pains. Y'all love the Lord? Ezekiel 27:19 read.
Dan also and Javan going to and fro occupy in thy fairs, bright iron, cassia, and calamus were in thy market.
Now, all of this stuff was in the flea market. The iron was not, they wasn't talking about iron from the cow. It was sitting out there on the flea market table. It was from plant. Exodus 30:23 read.
Take thou also unto thee principal spices, of pure myrrh 500 shekels, and of sweet cinnamon half so much, even 250 shekels, and of sweet calamus 250 shekels.
And see, that's that hummus, that place in Huntsville next to Bad Daddy's Burgers. What the name of that place is? Hummus? The vegan place? What y'all really didn't like, that it was all right with me. I like them meatballs. Them vegan meatballs. And they had, what that fake chicken is? Mushroom. You know, they got some chicken strips. It's mushroom. Got it, and they got it where you can season it up, put whatever you want to put with it. It's next to Bad Dad's Burger. That's the only side effect. You looking at both of them, and then your mind go to Bad Dad's Burger. This is the roll they're talking about. Yes, you know. But Bad Dad's Burger got some Beyond Meat burger that's $20. It better be good. You hear more of that talking about it's worth it. You know, this is for your health. Y'all love the Lord? Tell him thank you. Isaiah 28:25.
When he have made when he have made plain the face thereof, doeth he not cast abroad the fitches, and scatter the common, and cast in the principal wheat, and the appointed barley, and the rye in their place.
Now you can find this stuff today, but you have to search your area. You can find this stuff at the herb places, and you might have to drive a little bit. I know Orlando. You can find Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida. There's different places you can go, and then you got to understand something. Some of this stuff is seasonal, so you can go there and they may not have it a certain season. And then some places you got more people that are eating healthy, so they can't hardly keep it on the shelf. And most of the time, when you got a good herb store, a good herb connection, you know, you got to have a relationship with them where they let you know when certain things come in. Minister Terry got a connection up there in South Carolina where he got the connection and so forth, so he get just about anything what we need. It's a process of it. But you got to eat to live and not live to eat. This is the tea process. This is your energy drink. This to quench your thirst. This, and then they got, now all of these different teas work at different times. There are also some of these same teas will help you rest at night. It's your choice. And that's the process of it. Eating to live the Bible way. Part 5, tea.